Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
"17 years old. That's the age most teenagers are worrying about school, friends, and what they want to do with the rest of their lives.
But in the early 80s, a 17-year-old in Allentown, Pennsylvania, was hiding something far darker. He wasn't just a troubled teenager.
He would become the youngest serial killer in Pennsylvania's history. This is the case of Harvey Miguel Robinson. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of Stop Who Does That. I'm your host, Jackie.
And I'm Jenna.
And we hope everyone is having a great week. I am slowly getting through this week, Jenna. I was working an afternoon shift, and then I was working mornings. I personally hate working early mornings.
Yeah.
I'm making through with my day off today, recording for all of you. How about you, Jenna?
Probably makes your week go fast when it's a different shift. Yeah, same. We had a little fire at our office building last week.
Oh my gosh.
That, caught the signage out front, and a little bit of the roof was on fire. So last week we spent kind of like cleaning up that mess and gutting out some of the areas, and then this week we're having people come look at it. We got to put some drywall up. It's a whole thing. Anyway, it's the second fire I've been involved in, and I hope it stops there. I don't want to be involved in any more fires, or I'm joining the fire company.
That's right. I think in one of our episodes you did talk about your little kitchen fire.
Yeah, this is the
how you
second
got everybody
fire.
out and didn't leave them behind.
No, we got the kids out and this one. So, I think I'm good, but if anything, I know how to deal with a fire. Let's just say.
I was going to say maybe you're a fire sign, but then I remembered you're a Scorpio. So maybe.
Well, I have an Aries moon, so I am driven by the fire sign there.
Well, there it is. It is.
Well, we hope everyone else is having a great week, and we just want to remind everyone again about Beyond the Crime. It's only a few weeks out, Jackie.
I'm getting nervous.
I know. We're getting that excited, nervous feeling. We have almost everything we need ready for the table, and our live podcast will be doing Jamie Sylvanic. It'll be at 12:30 Mountain Time on Saturday, April 11th. So if you're in that area or you want to head on out there to hang out with us and buy tickets, we have a discounted code. It is Beyond-Stop, and you can go to beyondthecrime.com to purchase a ticket. We would love to see you there. So yeah, just keep up with that. We'll be posting a lot of stuff while we're out there.
Absolutely. I'm so nervous, Jenna. Like, I can't even wrap my head around what this is going to be like.
I know.
And it's going to be so surreal interacting with people who could be listeners or just will meet us for the first time and become listeners. So we really appreciate all of you. We see you guys showing up from all over the world, especially our Pennsylvania crew. You are showing up and showing out. One last update before we get into it. You might hear an ad in today's episode. We are piloting ads for female-owned businesses. We just wanted to give them some awareness and get their word out there. And they are Pennsylvania-based businesses. And these are businesses that Jenna and I use. So we hope you give them a try if they're local to you.
I do want to give a shout out to one of my very, very best friends, Janine Hemond, for recommending this episode that we will be doing today. So thank you, Janine, for the recommendation, and keep them coming.
All right. Now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into today's episode. And I have to admit, I live an hour south of Allentown, and I actually have never heard this story before until Jenna brought it to my attention. It's something that, her friend Janine lived through, her mom lived through, her mom and dad lived through. So this is new to me, and it's pretty mind-blowing. So here we go. In the early 1990s, fear began spreading across Pennsylvania's Lehigh Valley. Young women were being attacked, some abducted some brutally murdered by a predator who seemed to appear out of nowhere and vanish just as quickly. Police were hunting for a monster, someone calculated, violent, and experienced. But when investigators finally uncovered who was responsible, the truth was almost impossible to comprehend. Because the person behind the terror wasn't a hardened criminal. He was a 17-year-old high school student from Allentown, Pennsylvania. A teenager who would go on to become the youngest serial killer in the history of Pennsylvania. This is the case of Harvey Miguel Robinson.
Harvey Miguel Robinson was born on December 6, 1974 in Allentown, Pennsylvania, making him just 17 years old, like we said, at the time he started the crimes. Just a high school student, 17 years old. This is spanning the early 90s. 1990 is when he first began with the crimes, all the way up until 1995. 5 years worth of crime as a young teenager. Robinson to death. Harvey was around this type of trouble and chaos from a very young age. He lived with his family. He attended school in the Lehigh Valley. Neighbors and classmates often described Harvey as quiet. He was athletic. He won awards even for his school essays. He was also socially awkward and had trouble making friends. He, like many teenagers, held part-time jobs and tried to blend into everyday life. But those who knew him later said there was something unsettling about his demeanor. During his years in high school, he was actually arrested several times for burglary. He displayed signs of a sociopath early on, as he was unable to distinguish right from wrong. And he absolutely hated authority, which, Jackie, I guess, robbing people and places while you're a high school student is not typical of what other peers may be doing when they're in high school.
I feel like today, if he lived today, I think he would be classified as like a conduct disorder of some kind.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting here.
Yeah, so he's probably in and out of school as well when he was getting in trouble with the law. So by the time he was a teenager in the early 90s, Robinson had developed a disturbing pattern of behavior that would soon escalate into violence. What makes this case particularly chilling is that his crimes began when he was only 17 years old. Like we said, when most teenagers are worrying about school, friends, going to college, maybe getting a part-time job, just being a teenager, enjoying your high school years, looking forward to your future. But instead, Robinson would go on to commit a series of extremely brutal attacks against young women in the Lehigh Valley, leaving investigators stunned that someone so young could be responsible for such calculated and violent acts. Within a matter of weeks, the quiet teenager from Allentown would become one of the youngest serial killers in Pennsylvania history.
I mean, I just keep thinking of Jamie Sylvanek, right?
Yes.
She was the youngest
Female.
youngest female to be charged as an adult. And that was more recent in like 2015, 2016. But this is the 90s, and he's already a serial killer before he's 18.
Yeah, and I do want to point out that when we say the Lehigh Valley, we're talking about a span of many townships and cities. Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton, Pennsylvania make up the Lehigh Valley. So although we say he's from Allentown, which is where he lived and went to school, his crimes kind of spanned the surrounding cities in the Lehigh Valley. So we just want to say he wasn't like sticking to one small town. He was kind of branching out here.
Right. So he's escalating at this point. The first known attack connected to Harvey Miguel Robinson happened on June 30th, 1992. That evening, Robinson broke into a home where Leslie Gerhardt was staying overnight with a friend. After quietly entering through a window, he made his way into the bedroom where Leslie was sleeping. Without warning, he began brutally beating her with a brick. The attack was sudden and vicious. Leslie was struck repeatedly as she lay in bed, unable to defend herself. But the violence was interrupted when her friend woke up and began screaming for help. The noise startled Robinson and he quickly fled the house. Despite how brutal this attack was, Leslie miraculously survived. At the time, police had no idea who broke into the home. Later, investigators would learn that Leslie and Robinson had attended elementary school together, and it was believed that he'd been watching and stalking her in the weeks leading up to the attack. Just a month later, Robinson would escalate from attempted murder to something even more horrifying. On the night of August 5th, 1992, Robinson broke into the home of 29-year-old Joan Burkhart in Allentown. At first glance, it appeared he broke in to commit a burglary. He rummaged through the house and he took $50 from a dresser drawer, but Joan never had a chance to report the break-in. 4 days later, one of her neighbors contacted police after noticing her stereo had been blasting inside of the house for days. When officers entered the home, they discovered a disturbing scene. Joan Burkhart was lying dead on the living room floor for the last 4 days. An autopsy revealed that she had been essayed and beaten to death. Investigators were now looking for a violent predator, but they had no idea the person responsible was just 17 years old. And I just want to pause here for a minute. It is very alarming that he is breaking into these women's homes, stalking them, saying them. I mean, this is like, he went from
0 to 100.
0 to 100. And it makes you wonder, we always say, what's wrong with this person? But like, what happened to him?
Probably
That's crazy.
Probably growing up in a household where your father commits manslaughter and is a severe alcoholic shaped the way he was.
Wow.
I do want to point out that we mentioned he stalked Joan, and this was a pattern with his victims. He did stalk them. He did wait and watch them. So they weren't necessarily random attacks. He was picking these people. And even his fellow, elementary school classmate, he was picking these women. Could have been anyone, but I think he was watching, which makes it even a little scarier. And the stereo playing for days is very spooky.
Oh my God, that was the creepiest part of the whole thing. And did he leave the stereo running or did she have it on? That is freaky to me. And it's just, I think as a woman, like your worst fear, I think for anyone really, not even just a woman, anyone's worst fear is your sanctuary, your safe place being broken into and you being assaulted or killed in your own home.
Yeah.
And you know what else this reminds me of? Is Brian Koberger.
I'm thinking that I was gonna say it.
He's from what the area.
Yeah,
like,
he's from this area. He went to DeSales University, which is in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
Yes, Jackie, the whole time we're talking about this so far, I'm thinking about Brian Koberger with how Leslie and her friend were there, but he only tried to assault Leslie, not the friend, just like Brian Koberger. Yeah.
He wasn't flummoxed by the fact that there were other people there. And that's what I think made the whole Koberger thing so frightening to people. It's like, you knew that house had all these other people and you didn't care. You just went in. I mean, that is bold.
Why did he also kill Leslie's friend? I just, he does this.
He let Dylan go. Koberger, I don't know if he saw her open that door. I wonder if Brian Koberger studied this.
That'd be fascinating to know.
He had to have heard about it.
He had to have, because of his studies in criminal justice and everything he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had to have, because this is a huge case from the Lehigh Valley and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Being that Harvey's age is so young.
Well, keep going. I don't want to digress, but I had to make that correlation. Yeah.
So we'll kind of keep that in the back of our heads.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was creepy too, just like Brian. So only 4 days later, Robinson struck again. Early in the morning of June 1993, 15-year-old Charlotte Schmoyer was out delivering newspapers. Like many young paper carriers, she was walking her route in the quiet early summer hours before most of the neighborhood had even woken up. At some point during her route, Robinson approached her and abducted her. And I'm sure he was watching her for weeks. I'm sure he saw her route, He knew
He knew her every
He
move.
knew. He knew what
Yeah.
she was doing, and he knew she would be alone. He studied her, and he preyed on her, I guarantee you. He forced Charlotte into a nearby wooded area where the attack became brutally violent. He essayed her and stabbed her multiple times, and Robinson ultimately slashed her throat,
Oh,
leaving Charlotte there
my
in the woods. The
God.
community was now terrified. A young girl delivering newspapers had been murdered, and investigators were desperate to find the person responsible. And I just want to say, like, I know there was a lot of young kids delivering papers in the 70s, 80s, and 90s,
Yeah.
and I
It
feel
was a
like
common thing.
they were such a target for these evil, bad people because they were alone. It was early morning hours. But
Well,
so one of my best friends, Janine, that we mentioned before, recommended this episode. She had just graduated high school at the time, and she said, now with Charlotte's murder, everybody started freaking the F out. And my mom said the same thing when I interviewed my mom about the case. I asked her if she remembered about Harvey Miguel Robinson, and she said yes. She said, I remember he killed the paper delivery girl. So it was Charlotte's death that really stuck out in the community and made everybody kind of get in panic mode. Like, we definitely have a serial killer now. This is too many girls, too many assaults. Now, poor Charlotte, she was the youngest victim so far, left in the woods, and Janine said everybody was like, shit.
well, you know what I noticed too is that he went from home invasions to now getting them out moving
In
around.
public. Yeah.
Right. So he's escalating. He's changing up his MO a little bit, but he's
Yeah.
still going after women.
Yes. Yeah, you're right, Jackie. It's like he wanted to try something different.
You're right.
And she was young compared to the other women who were in their 20s. And let's not forget, he's a teenager. So he wasn't that much older than Charlotte.
Wow.
Unbelievably, Robinson's crimes were far from over. Just days later, he broke into the home of John and Denise Sam Callie. During that burglary, he stole John's gun collection, which is not good. That's not good for anyone in the community. Now he has access to a whole slew of guns.
Arsenal.
He even stopped to drink whiskey inside, like the audacity, Jackie.
Right.
Like,
right.
he stops to drink whiskey inside.
It's like a big F you.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
listen to your
breathing.
guns and drink your whiskey. But, I mean, he would have left, like, his saliva on it, right?
He's just casually breaking into the Sam Callie home. He's stealing all their guns. He's drinking all their whiskey. But he didn't assault or kill anyone in the home. That he was just burglarizing.
Mm-hmm.
But while he was there, and at the time, Robinson had become fixated on Denise. Denise lived in the home with John.
So you mean to tell me he's, like, looking at photos and he's like, ooh.
Yeah, and I believe he probably even crept into their bedroom to look at them because
Dude.
he comes back days later, breaking in to another home. But when he entered the house, he discovered the woman was asleep beside her boyfriend. So now he's breaking into a neighbor's house, the neighbor of Denise. So rather than abandon his plan entirely, Robinson turned his attention to someone else in this house, the woman's 5-year-old daughter. And I just want to say a trigger warning. So instead of getting the woman or the man, he targeted the 5-year-old daughter and he SA'd her and attempted to strangle her to death.
Oh my God.
Miraculously, and thank God she survived the attack.
Jenna,
So-
is this guy like the spawn of Satan? I mean, this is
does-
like...
Yeah, and when we see him, like, we can even pull up pictures. He
God.
looks like a regular young man. He doesn't look crazy like Nick Reiner. I mean, he doesn't look that crazy like Korberger. I don't know. There's a lot of pictures of him throughout the years, but if you were to see him break into your home, like, he wasn't a big guy. He wasn't anything special. And now he's targeted a 5-year-old, which is something new for him.
God. I bet you if there were profilers on this case, I think they were probably really confused. with his
Yeah.
victimology. It's almost like, is this impulse driven? This is what he looks like.
Yeah.
What's your?
Yeah.
This is
That's what.
1994, so that's around. This is what he looked like around the time. Oops,
Yeah.
this is
You can see. Yeah.
1998, so a couple years
He
later.
has
He
he
is
has blue
short, by the
eyes.
way.
Yeah, he is. He's not a big dude. He has blue eyes. He has very dark hair, a beard. He has glasses like those 90s, like, circular frame glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Jamie Sylvanic's boyfriend, Caleb Barnes. Remember when the
Yes.
judge called him a little man? And yes, he's in a wheelchair now. Something happened to him. Now he's confined to a wheelchair.
Well, you
He's
know
in his
what?
50s.
It's
Yeah.
the least that karma could do. Let's
Yeah.
be real.
Yep. So there he is throughout the years. He's in his 50s now, but back then he was just a young teenager. So yeah, you're right about the profiling. He's kind of getting all over the place here. And now he's going after children. So that's now like the community is even more in a panic because it's not just
Yeah.
he's not just sticking to adults. Now you have to be afraid
Anyone
for
is
your
fair game
children.
to him.
Yep.
Yeah, anyone is fair
Anyone.
game.
Any
Yeah.
woman, we will say. He's leaving the men alone.
They
Which is
seem to scare him away.
yeah.
Well,
So
because, I mean, look how small he is. I mean, he knows they
yes.
could be gas. So, yeah, let's just go after some poor defenseless women. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he was doing. Because the neighbor to Denise, because the neighbor's husband or boyfriend was home, that's when he just was like, nah, this isn't for me, dog. Like, I'm gonna just skip this lady. So, the daughter, the 5-year-old girl survives, thank God. Now he's moving on. He didn't forget about Denise, Sam Callie, though. 8 days later, he's still thinking about Denise. That's the home that he broke into and he stole the guns and drank the whiskey. That's that home. He's still thinking about this woman, Denise. And he just has to kill her. Like, it's like almost like he's possessed.
He
So,
can't get her out of his head.
nope.
After
So,
breaking into her home when she was minding her own business.
yeah. So he comes back. He wants to attack Denise while the husband's away because, like we said, he's a little bitch and he can't fight the husband. So
Yeah.
he wants to wait till the husband's away. So her husband's gone. He's obviously stalking the house. In the middle of the night, he climbs through an open window, which we know, be cautious when leaving your windows open. This happens all the time. He climbed through an open window, began moving throughout the house, which woke up Denise. She heard the footsteps. She woke up. Unfortunately, he had already stolen all their guns, so she didn't have anything to defend herself. When she realized someone was inside, she ran for the front door and tried to escape. Like something out of nightmares, Robinson caught her in the front yard, and he tackled her to the ground. Denise bit his arm in an attempt to fight back this enraged Robinson, and he started punching her repeatedly. He split her lip open, he essayed her, and he attempted to strangle her, all in the yard. She's screaming. It's the middle of the night. Thank God her screams were heard by a neighbor.
Thank God.
The neighbor turns on the porch light, comes out. It was probably a man because this sent Robinson fleeing.
Bitch.
He ran away. So he just left Denise in the yard. So thank God now Denise survived, thanks to the neighbor.
Thank God.
But I will say,
it feels like a scene out of a movie you see where they like narrowly get away.
Yes, and he's not done with Denise, by the way. I will say that.
Well, his final victim was Jessica Jean Fortney. In July 1993, inside Jessica's home, Robinson essayed, beat, and strangled and stabbed the 47-year-old grandmother to death. So he's running the gamut here of like there's no age that he won't hurt. Her son and daughter-in-law were asleep the whole time. Again, there's still people in the house.
Yes, this is just like Korberger.
Yeah. Her son and daughter-in-law were asleep the whole time on the 3rd floor of the house with their 4 children while Jessica was brutally killed. When police entered the home, they found her body on the living room floor and the walls were spattered with blood, revealing just how violent this attack had been. Jenna, I just want to say he's got a lot of anger towards women.
He really does.
I-
I
Yeah.
did read that he preferred big boned, like larger women. So I don't know if that goes back to some childhood issues or anything with his mother, but that was kind of, outside of the 5-year-old, he kind of preferred like a little bit of a larger woman, which
is interesting given how small he
yes.
is.
Yeah, so I definitely think something weird psychologically was going on there.
Something is really wrong with this man.
Many things.
At this point, the entire community's in panic mode, obviously. I mean, he's just breaking into homes, grabbing
Mhm.
people when they're on their paper route. He doesn't have a rhyme or reason to who
No.
he's targeting. So literally, you could be a resident in this area, locking on your doors and windows at night and thinking, I could be next. And you wouldn't be wrong because he really could have gone for anyone. After the attack on Denise Sam Kelly, that's when investigators began realizing this isn't random. Like, he's targeting people, he's stalking them, he's doing surveillance to see when certain people are going to be home. And obviously, even people being in the house doesn't seem to detract him either.
Nope.
Even though the first attack was interrupted, it's still possible he's going to come back to Denise. This is the second time now, if you think back, he's attacked Denise. And Denise was in constant fear of that happening. I mean, how could she not?
Oh, I'd be so freaked out. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Plus, all your weapons are gone. And I just feel you would probably constantly be checking in with the police and just be scared out of your mind.
I mean, I wonder where they're at now and how they feel
Yeah.
today. I mean, they
Yeah.
probably still live in fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Denise decides, you know what, I'm going to turn this into something that could potentially get him. And instead of waiting for him to strike her house again or come after her again, she says, enough is enough. You've already gotten my daughter. You've gotten me. We're going to set up a trap. And that's just what the police did. They set up a trap at Denise Sam Callie's house. Investigators put a young police officer named Brian Lewis inside the Sam Callie home to stay overnight. The idea was simple, but very risky. If the attacker returned, he would be walking straight into a house where police were already waiting for him. To make the trap believable, officers even left a window slightly open, hoping it would lure him inside, the same way he entered before. Then they waited and waited and waited. Late one night, their suspicions were correct, and he entered the house. Officer Lewis could hear someone moving outside, testing doors and windows, trying to find a way in. Moments later, the intruder climbed through the open window. As soon as Robinson was inside, Officer Lewis confronted him and identified himself as a police officer, ordering him to stop. Instead, Robinson pulled out a gun and began firing. It was probably Denise's husband's gun.
Probably. Obviously, now I see why this was so risky, because Denise
didn't
and her
know.
husband could have been shot.
Exactly. Lewis returned fire, striking Robinson during the exchange. He then fled the scene. Outside the house, investigators discovered a trail of blood. This confirmed what police thought. Robinson's now severely injured. So they began calling local hospitals to see if a young man checked in. A couple hours later, they got the news that they were waiting for. A young man had walked into a hospital seeking treatment for cuts and a gunshot wound. That man was Harvey Miguel Robinson. Booyah! They got him.
I know. I want to say, what good police work. Like, great job, police.
That was awesome. And I'm so glad that Denise was brave enough to do this. Because, I mean, that's pretty risky.
Good old-fashioned, simple, almost like a simple booby trap.
Yeah.
We'll leave the window open. We'll have the officer inside with the gun. And it worked.
Denise must have really reminded him of someone.
Yeah.
You're
right.
Going back.
You're right.
When officers arrived, Robinson attempted to flee again, but he quickly found himself staring down the barrel of a police officer's gun. This time, he had nowhere to run. He was trapped. Harvey Miguel Robinson was finally under arrest. As time went on, investigators began building their case, and the evidence quickly piled up. We had DNA evidence, we had witness accounts, and physical evidence linking him to multiple attacks and murders across the Lehigh Valley. The serial killer, burglar, and rapist who had been terrorizing the community was not a grown man. It was a simple young high school student. It's just mind-blowing how much turmoil this young man caused before he was even legally considered an adult. And it makes
Yeah.
me think back to what we were talking about, the psyche of the adolescent mind. But it seems like pervasively he just didn't know or didn't care what was right from wrong.
Yeah, he was definitely a sociopath. He just didn't care. And imagine the shock of the officer. They didn't know, but they thought this was a serial killer, adult, grown ass
Yeah.
man. They thought this was a man. Can you imagine the shock when he's nothing more than a teenager? I mean, holy shit.
When we think of young teenage boys, we're thinking they're getting in with gang-related violence, they're vandalizing, they're stealing, maybe stealing a car, but serial sexual-related crimes, breaking and entering, very bold behavior. I think that's why this is so shocking, because you just don't hear someone escalate so quickly.
And so many crimes in only a few short years in the early 90s. I mean, just like it wasn't like one here, one there. It was like boom, boom, boom. Like he just couldn't help himself. Like he just couldn't stop.
Believable.
So, yeah. So, following his arrest, investigators began piecing together the full scope of Harvey Miguel Robinson's crimes. What they uncovered shocked the Lehigh Valley. Robinson eventually confessed to multiple attacks, multiple murders, and robberies, and investigators were able to connect him to the crimes through DNA evidence, witness statements, and the physical evidence, like we mentioned. So much evidence. He had to confess. There was no way out of this. So the case very quickly moved to trial because Robinson had been 17 years old at the time of the murders. The case drew enormous attention, just like the Jamie Sylvanek case that we'll be doing at Beyond the Crime. They're just so young. It's hard to wrap your brain around how a young child can commit crimes like this. So it's kind of sensational. It was all over the news. It was national news at this point.
Yeah.
The brutality of the crimes combined with the fact that the killer was still a teenager stunned both public and courtroom. Just like we said, just very similar to Jamie Sylvanek. She was 14 at that time that she conspired to kill her mother. She wasn't much younger, but I mean, still shocking. Prosecutors laid out the details of Robinson's violent spree, showing how in just a short period of time he had stalked, attacked, and murdered multiple women all across the Lehigh Valley. And while he's doing this, leaving the whole community living in fear. Ultimately, Robinson was convicted of multiple counts of murder, rape, attempted murder, and burglary, and the judge handed down a severe sentence. Robinson received 3 death sentences, along with an additional 97 years in prison for all the other crimes, like all the assaults and the burglaries. In a shocking twist, Jackie, and there always is one, as we learned with these court cases, there's always a shocking twist. Robinson's attorneys successfully challenged 2 of the death sentences during the appeals process because in 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that executing anyone who committed their crimes under the age of 18 was unconstitutional. Because Robinson was just 17 during the killings, during some of the killings, 2 of the deaths were overturned and they were replaced with life sentences. So 2 were overturned because of the Supreme Court ruling and 1 remained because that one was done when he was 18.
Ah, gotcha.
They legally cannot execute him because of his age. So because of those ones when he was 17, it kind of carries over.
Time. If you have 1 death sentence, he's still
I
going to
know.
he's still sentenced to
Honestly.
death, but I see what you mean. He's probably he's never going to make it there.
Yeah, so he has 2 life sentences and 1 death. Either way, the outcome is the same. He will spend the rest of his life and die in prison. And he's in his 50s, so he has a long time to go. Today, Harvey Miguel Robinson remains incarcerated on death row in Pennsylvania, where he continues to serve his sentence for the brutal crimes he committed as just a teenager. His case remains one of the most disturbing in Pennsylvania history, not only because of the violence, severe violence involved. But because the person responsible was just 17 years old, making him the youngest serial killer in the state of Pennsylvania's history. So he's very infamous.
So I bet you may be wondering, where do things stand right now with Harvey Miguel Robinson? As of February 23rd, 2026, PA.gov website says the Department of Corrections Secretary Laurel Harry signed a notice of execution setting March 24th, 2026, so just in a few days, for the execution of Harvey M. Robinson, who was sentenced to death in Lehigh County. The law provides that when the governor does not sign a warrant of execution within the specified time period, the Secretary of Corrections has 30 days within which to issue a notice of execution. However, it is noted that there has been a moratorium on death sentences in Pennsylvania as of 2015. So it's almost safe to say he's probably not going to be executed as long as we have this moratorium in the state of Pennsylvania. But right now he is housed at SCI Phoenix in Skippack Township, Pennsylvania, which is near Limerick Township.
Yeah.
An area where I grew up. It's formerly Graterford Prison. Oh, I don't like the fact that he's...
I didn't realize he was that close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
I wish
exactly
they sent him
that is.
upstate somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't actually even
Yeah.
realize there was a prison so close to Skippack. That's
Yeah,
kind of disturbing.
it is. Interestingly enough, in 1996, the story of his crime spree was depicted in the film No One Could Protect Her with Joanna Kearns from Growing Pains, playing the role of surviving victim Denise Sam Kelly. He also was featured on A&E's Killer Kids and a couple of Investigation Discovery episodes. He's been talked about extensively. And I just wanted to point out too, I found that his mother, speaking of his mother, she left the family. So I feel like
So he has
that
issues.
there's a lot of anger towards a female figure.
I found a picture of Denise. Let's see. Do you want me to share it?
Yeah. Yeah, it says the mother left the family due to the abuse, but I wonder if we can find a photo and see if she looks like Denise. Maybe that's
Well,
why.
here's a picture of Denise, if you can see that.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, wow.
so Denise, she almost kind of looks like a
Nancy Grace type.
realtor or something.
Yeah, yeah.
She has short had that 90s hairstyle, like,
Yeah.
with the bangs, and it's short to her chin. It kind of flips out at the bottom a little bit. She has those bangs. She has really nice makeup. She's a very well polished and well put together woman. She's wearing
Yeah.
a blazer, and he just was drawn to her. And here, down here, this is a picture of Charlotte and Joan. So there you go. You can see the
I don't feel
difference.
like they look anything alike, but Denise looks like a mother. Like she looks like a caring, loving mother. And maybe that's why he zoned in on her. That's just me speculating, but
Yeah. I could see that.
man, yeah.
That Denise was the one he really, and in the end, he didn't get the one he really wanted anyway. So she's lucky to be alive. She survived a serial killer.
No, there was a judge, wasn't it, who asked him to donate his brain to science?
Oh, yes, and yes, you're right. And he refused.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
wanted to study his brain when he dies. But like we were saying, Jackie, do you have to really ask it? I mean, he's a felon. He's in prison. Like, does he have rights like
he's
that?
technically isn't he property of the state at this point? I mean, yeah, they say your custody is now remanded to the state. I mean, wouldn't you become
Yeah. I would think that
property? Like,
when he dies, I don't really feel like they have to ask permission. Maybe they were just trying to be.
well, he sure as hell didn't ask permission to enter anyone's freaking home. I don't know. I wish we could study his brain. I mean, I don't know the legality of it. It sounds like I guess you need his permission, but
I guess. I mean, I'd be interested.
You know.
I'd be interested to see kind of the findings on that, just because I wonder if he even grew past the juvenile state of mind. Jamie Sylvanik now is rehabilitating her life and kind of has remorse, and she's trying to do good with her life. I don't think Harvey's doing that.
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
just don't think he
No.
cares.
No, I don't. That's what makes us feel differently about this case versus Jamie is that she's making a concerted effort. She didn't, to our knowledge and what's publicly available, we don't know that she had a conduct disorder. I mean, from the age of 9, like Harvey. So, clemency should be given to her, given the fact that this was the only time she kind of displayed this kind of behavior. She was groomed by an older man. She's
Yeah, it's
making good effort in prison.
totally different.
Totally different. It does make you wonder, if the father exposed him to abuse,
Yeah.
violence, trauma, the mother walks out.
Hmm.
What's their culpability in all of this? Creating this monster.
Yeah,
It's it really raises a good question as a parent. Because now when you have a school shooting, did you
yeah.
hear that the parents sometimes they're being held responsible?
Oh, like that one man that just went to jail.
Yes. He got his son a gun.
Yes. The son was already disturbed,
Right.
already getting in trouble in school, and had a record. And
Yep.
the parents got him a gun anyway, and then he wound up shooting up the school and killing people. The dad just was found guilty of murder because of
Which
it.
I agree. What made you think that was okay?
I
Knowing
agree.
your son's problems leading up to this,
Yeah.
that was not a responsible act of a parent. And you're responsible for your child. Like you and I are parents. We're responsible for our children's behavior. And another thing happened in Pennsylvania. It was Great Valley Middle School. There were students that created TikToks using the images of their teachers. And
Mhm.
they created these accounts pretending to be the teachers and made them say like things like I like little kids and like
Ouch.
crazy stuff like that ruins their image. It's defamatory.
Mhm.
And those parents are being held accountable because they should be monitoring what their kids are doing. So we're now entering this territory in recent days
Yeah.
of now parents are being held responsible for their children's actions. It
I
makes you
wonder
wonder.
if he even had if his dad was in prison for manslaughter and his
Yeah.
mom walked out, who was raising Harvey?
I
He had siblings, I do
Yeah.
know that, and he was in school, but he was in and out of school with all of his troubles.
Right. Yeah. I think a psychological break must have happened in him at a young age.
Yeah.
And ruined him the rest of his life. The fact that he was under 18, you kind of have to take all those things into consideration as mitigating factors. So I could see why they took those death penalties off the table for him being under 17. But like once you're 18, then it's a different territory.
Mhm.
It does make you want to start saying, though, like I said earlier in this episode, instead of saying what's wrong with you, what happened to you? What happened to Harvey Miguel Robinson
That's
to
a
make
good point.
him? And that's what I want to leave everybody with is,
Yeah.
what happened to him to make him do these terrible things as a child?
Mhm. We're not born evil.
No, we're not. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And we'll
So
leave you with that.
yeah, so thank you all for listening, and we'll be back with you next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye.